I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked one bit. I'm not shocked that Mr. Richie Lou Dennis, owner of Essence and EssenceFest, I'm not shocked that he owes hundreds of thousands of dollars since last year's EssenceFest. The EssenceFest last year, that was a flop. I'm not shocked one bit. First off, I want to give a big shout out to my brother, the main Darian, because he brought this to my attention. Yeah. Y'all remember last year's EssenceFest was a flop, right? And a lot of Black American people who went to EssenceFest last year, was it last year or the year before? My people was upset. They said the vibe was off. They were like, why is Jollof Rice in the building? This is a Black American festival. What is going on? The venues were empty. A lot of the food vendors who have been at every EssenceFest for decades were uninvited. Remember last year? Let me show you a snippet. Last year I did a video and broke down the things that were happening with EssenceFest. And I told y'all why the vibe felt off and what Mr. Richie Lou Dennis was doing, right? He was joining forces with government organizations over in Nigeria, and they were going to use EssenceFest to make Nigeria the focal point, not Black American culture. Here's a little snippet from that video. There wasn't very much Black American in the biggest Black American festival of the year, every year. I've seen videos where at the concerts are usually packed every night, packed out. Empty this year. There were people there, but nothing like it was in the past. One of the major complaints that I've seen on my timelines is the vibe was off. It felt different. The air was different. Well, grab yourself a cup of coffee. I came across a picture post over on TikTok, and that led me down a rabbit hole. Get your coffee. Let's go for a walk, shall we? I'm going to call him Mr. Dennis because I don't want to butcher his name. Y'all know I got a Southern American tongue. Yeah, so I'm going to call him Mr. Dennis. This is Mr. Dennis. He is the owner of Sundial Products and Shea Moisture. I remember him from when he purchased Shea Moisture. He now owns Essence Ventures. What falls under Essence Ventures? Essence Magazine. Mr. Dennis is not Black American. I believe he comes from Lagos, Nigeria. So he's Nigerian. If I'm incorrect, feel free to correct me down in the comment section. Respectfully. I don't deal with disrespect over here. I block. This is the CEO of Essence. Her name is Caroline Wanga. And baby, she is a whole mood. Looking her up over on the Google, baby, she is walking art. Every outfit, the hair is together, the specs are on point, the outfit is bold, loud, beautiful. Love it. She is the CEO of Essence, okay? She's not Black American. She's from Kenya, okay? So the top owner is from Nigeria. The CEO is from Kenya, Africa, okay? I went on over to Essence Ventures because in my research I saw that Mr. Dennis owns Essence Ventures, okay? And so I went on over to Essence Ventures, and right on the home screen, they provide all of their targeting right there on the home screen, right? And you see that little white arrow down on the right of your screen where it says access to $1.4 trillion in buying power, in AA buying power? That's our money, Black Americans. Yeah, Black Americans in the United States have a $1.4 trillion spending power. And it's probably higher than that. Let me take a quick look. $1.4 trillion spending power. This was written back in 2023, but in the article, the very first paragraph says, in recent years, the buying power of the Black community has risen significantly. According to a 2020 report via CNBC, Black buying power was $1.4 trillion in 2019 and is projected to grow to $1.8 trillion by 2024. So in 2025, it is estimated that the buying power, the spending power of Black Americans in the United States is $1.8 trillion. And so Mr. Dennis is counting in his portfolio access to the 1.8 buying power that Black Americans have, okay? He wants access to our money. That was my first thought. He wants access to our money. But why are my people complaining about the vibe being off at Essence? Why are my people, Black Americans, upset about this Jollof and Jambalaya versus contest? Why did it have to be a versus contest? Why are my people complaining about not feeling African-American vibes at an African-American festival that they have been going to for decades? Well, Mr. Dennis has a plan. Mr. Dennis and the folks over in Nigeria, over in Africa, they've got a plan. And unfortunately, Black Americans are not a part of the plan. Y'all could go over on YouTube. I will link over in YouTube the video so you guys can watch the entire video. That video went viral on YouTube last year, and it went viral over on TikTok. Me breaking it down why the vibe was off over at EssenceFest. And the Africans were responding to Black Americans who were complaining about the vibe being off, and were saying, well, why didn't any of their Black American celebrities buy Essence, right? That was their response to it, right? They were digging that little knife into the confusion and disappointment of African Americans, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. They were digging that knife into our confusion as to why the vibe was off at one of our staple festivals that celebrate Black history, Black culture, Black history. Why didn't one of your Black American celebrities buy it? Okay. Well, shout out to Darren, like I said, because Darren, 1 year later, this is what's happening with EssenceFest. This is the article that I'll be reading from. I think it's NOLA.com, NOLA.com. You can Google the title and it'll bring up the article. The Essence Festival of Culture owes the Ernest N. Memorial Convention Center more than $400,000 from last year's event and is past due on paying at least one other major contractor, alarming some local officials and complicating efforts to secure crucial state funding for the 2026 festival in July. The convention center said that New York-based Sundown Media Group, I believe Sundown Media Group, is also owned by Mr. Richie Lou Dennis. The convention center said that New York-based Sundown Media Group, which purchased Essence in 2018, had an outstanding balance of $456,000 as of Tuesday, representing more than 60% of its charges for hosting 3 days of panels, workshops, and other events from July 4th to 6th last year. The convention center, which shared the information in response to a public records request, requires that balances be settled within 30 days of an event. So I want all of my African brothers and sisters, because after I did my video last year, a whole bunch of people did their own digging and own follow-up videos, putting Mr. Richie Lou Dennis out there as a scammer. As a scammer. He's done some scammy shit financially in the past. And yeah, Black Americans have some concerns. And now we understand why. We understand that those concerns were very valid. So my Black American, not my Black Americans, my African brothers and sisters, please explain to me, while y'all was defending Mr. Richie Lou Dennis and y'all was poking the knife into Black Americans last year, please explain to us why Mr. Richie Lou Dennis has not paid the bill from last year. The convention center said it received a $50,000 payment from Essence, bringing the outstanding balance down to $406,000. Essence also owes a local production company more than $1 million, according to a source familiar with the situation who asked not to be named to avoid upsetting business relationships in New Orleans. The delay in payments is the latest issue to crop up for Essence, which brings tens of thousands of people and estimated hundreds of millions of dollars in economic impact to New Orleans each year. In 2025, it faced complaints from some attendees over aspects of the shows in the Caesars Superdome. Essence officials are also preparing, like in earlier years, to ask the state legislature for funding for the 2026 festival. However, the vendor payments issue could make securing state money more difficult, according to state rep, I believe that's Jacob McFarland, a Republican from Jonesboro, the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee. He said Essence officials will have to come to Baton Rouge to explain the delayed payments if they want to secure more funds. Quote, any event that doesn't pay its bills after we give it funding, that's a problem. I don't care which event it is. That doesn't matter. End quote. In a prepared statement, Essence officials said the city of New Orleans and EssenceFest are extremely dear to each other as partners, adding that last year's event generated an estimated $46.2 million in tax revenue. Then it goes into the statement. So will there be an EssenceFest this year? According to the article, they owe $406,000 to the convention center. Why hasn't that money been paid? It owes allegedly another $1 million to a production company. Why hasn't that been paid? The comment section is open. I eagerly await to read all of y'all's comments about this.